Hi there, welcome to this edition of Coffee Time. I am filming from my car because things have been so crazy with the market lately. I don't know what's going on. The summer was kind of slow and now it's really picked up and it's been nuts. And we're coming on Labor Day weekend, so everything's kind of getting crammed in. So apologize for not filming this in front of some more impressive background, but you can see how dirty my car is, so that's good. But I wanted to talk to you today about purchase contracts and really how binding and strong those purchase contracts are, whether you're a buyer or a seller. So unfortunately for sellers in the Cincinnati marketplace, the Cincinnati purchase contract that all the agents use is really biased and heavily skewed towards protecting the interests of the buyer, not the seller. So if a seller ever wants to cancel a contract, it's extremely difficult. There's really no grounds to cancel it unless, as I think on the top of my head, unless you feel like you were fraudulently led to believe something, or the buyer doesn't fulfill one of the commitments that they made as part of the purchase contract. So, but let's talk about, if you're the buyer, the reasons that you might end up breaking the purchase contract, or the ways you can legally break a purchase contract. Now, the goal here isn't to use this as a way to write a bunch of offers and then back out whenever you want. The goal here is that you can just be educated, really regardless of which side of the table you're on how you're protected. So there's four main contingencies to be aware of in the Cincinnati purchase contract. The first is the financing contingency. Now, this basically means if you can't get a loan, then you can't close on the house and you can cancel the contract. And even if you wait until the day before closing to get denied, even if you go out and you screw up your credit because you decide to stop paying your bills, over the 2-month period before you close, even if you misreport information to the lender, so they said you're approved for the house, then they see all the documentation, they say, oh, we can't count any of this overtime income, or we can't count this, or we can't count that, or hey, you left out that pretty big debt, that you were supposed to mention to me. Regardless of the reason, if the lender determines they can't finance you, you can break the contract and get your earnest money deposit back. Not really fair for a seller who's potentially moved out of their house, stopped selling the property to actually able buyers. But it's just the way that the contracts are written, and it sucks, but there's not a whole lot we can do to change that. So that's the financing contingency. The other contingency is the inspection contingency. So in Cincinnati, you can break a contract and say, my inspections led me to determine I have no interest in this property. And you could back out because the neighbor down the street is a sex offender. You can back out because your bedroom furniture doesn't fit. You can back out for any of those, any reason you want. It could smell bad in the area. But as long as you issue a request to cancel the contract within your inspection period, the seller can't do anything. So again, not really fair for the seller if they want the opportunity to correct a concern you have, or if there's something that should have been open and obvious that now you're objecting to. Unfortunately, just is the way it is. It's good to be a buyer, tough to be a seller. So that's the second contingency. The third is going to be the HOA contingency. So if you're buying in a community with an HOA, there is a period of time where you can review documents and approve of the rules and regulations for the community that you're going to be buying into. Now, it could be that you decide, hey, I want to have 6 dogs and the community only allows 3. Well, you can cancel the contract. Or if you just think there's too many rules about parking RVs, or too much control over the color you paint your house, or if you just find that the HOA doesn't have as much money as you think it should, and therefore you're concerned it's going to go bankrupt. Any of those reasons, you can break the contract, get your earnest money back. And the fourth contingency, which really isn't in your control, but if you're worried about possibly overpaying for the property, there is an appraisal contingency. And if it's determined that the property's not worth what you're paying for it, you can break the contract or renegotiate. So again, there's plenty of ways out. And even if you're fully committed to buy that house at the time you write the offer, and then all of a sudden your wife says that she's going to leave you and she no longer wants to be married to you and you need out of a purchase. Typically, if you're working with a good agent, they can get you out using one of the contingencies. Even though technically the reason for you not buying the house is because your family situation has drastically changed. So the goal for us at TREO, though, is to make sure that you're making an educated decision, that you've seen enough property to know the value, that we've really walked through how you're going to enjoy the property and live in the property. We've accounted for room measurements and layouts and things like that, so that once you do go under contract, you're excited and confident in your purchase and you're not looking for a way out. But that's it for me today. If you have any questions or just general information that you're seeking about buying or selling a home, feel free to reach out to us at the contact information below. Have a great day.